What's up, guys? It's Brady from Fishing. Welcome back to the channel. And by the way, before we start, I had a poll on my Instagram. By the way, if you want to follow me, Bassin with Brando, link in description. But I had a poll on my Instagram when I should upload videos because 2 weeks was way too much for me. I bit off more than I could chew. So we're going to be doing Monday uploads from now on. I'm filming this on Sunday. But just so you know, let's get right into the video. Now, this is probably going to be my longest video yet. I qualify myself as a PPPA, aka a pressured pond professional angler, I guess. Yeah, whatever. So we are going to be doing pressured pond bass fishing, the complete guide. This is going to be probably my longest video. So grab a drink, grab some popcorn. Let's get right into it. Now, before we start, I don't know kind of what my viewers are. Are they noobs? I don't like to use that term a lot, but are they beginners? Are they pros? I don't know. So I guess we'll start with the basics. What is a pressured pond? Now, pressured means that it is overfished. Now, overfished means there's a lot of people coming there each day, catching a lot of fish. Sometimes they'll take them. So you know how if you go to a pond, there's always that one family with the toy rods fishing for bluegill. It's a normal thing. Everyone does it, but usually when you go to a pond, or specifically a overfished or pressured pond, there's not too many bass anglers there. But because the bluegill are receiving so much pressure and the bass kind of hang around the bluegill, they see what's going on and stuff like that. So like I said, I don't like to throw around this term, but there's a bug on my head. Like I said, I don't like to throw around this term a lot, but there is a lot of noobs or beginners that fish these ponds, you know, because they don't have a boat, or it's close to their house, I guess. Alright, now the first thing that you need to take in consideration when fishing one of these ponds is location. Now, it is probably the most important part to fishing anywhere. I mean, especially for bass. You know, bass will eat a very wide variety of baits, but we'll cover this later. But when fishing a pressured pond, they'll only go to one side of the pond. They'll all hang out here, down below, stuff like that. So location and targeting the fish with a specific bait is very key. And it is, for me, it's pretty rare on the first day you go to catch anything. I mean, you'll probably get some bites and stuff like that, but the first day you go is probably the most important. You really want to analyze the fishing. You really want to see what's going on. Look for fish jumping. Look for boils in the water. Look where the bluegill are. Look where the dragonflies are. Look where everything is. Take it into consideration. Write it down. Take pictures. So when you go home, you'll know what's around you and stuff like that. So right here, I have a Google Maps overlay that I filmed a few days ago, and I want to show you one of my favorite ponds to fish and how I fish it. Alright guys, so this is one of the ponds that I like to fish right here. I'm going to blur this name out because it's the name of the school right next to it. But like I said, try to steer away from these docks right here. Now this is where everyone fishes. Everyone fishes right here. Just follow my mouse cursor on this. Everyone fishes right here. This is where I caught my personal best bass. So, as you can see, there's a little path right here. And I rarely fish here because this is where all the pressure happens. This is where all the fish get caught, basically. So what we in our group does, our fishing group, there's a little thing right here. We just take this path, and these are thick woods right here. So we move through all this. There's a little opening. There's an opening here, here, and there's one here, and there's some along here. So during the spring spawn, all the fish move up shallow, right? And as you can see, usually they'll come up here or maybe come up here, but no one's rod can cast all the way over here. So we just come over here, bada bing, bada boom, we catch a bunch of fish. And normally, even when it's not spring spawn, we'll still come over here because look, there's flats, this is where we stand right here, and then this is deep water. So this pond doesn't get that deep, but this portion is where it gets deep. There's a huge beach right here. During spawn, you'd assume like, oh, they move up here. They don't, because this is where all the pressure comes. They all move over here, so they don't get spotted. And that's how I fish this pond. Alright, so I hope you guys did enjoy that, and just a little thing to teach you where to fish those ponds that have docks and stuff like that. But speaking of docks, something about docks actually, is if there is a dock, I would recommend not fishing it. I would recommend getting a pair of waders or hip waders or anything so you can move around the pond if you're allowed to, obviously. Because the dock, obviously, is where everyone is going, and, you know, bass do like structure, so if you want to fish the dock, you know, throw around it, but just casting out sometimes is not going to do it, because they're at the total other side of the pond. You know, why would they hang out where all the people are when they can just go all the way over there and just have total peace? You know, there's no reason to do that. So if you're going to fish on a dock, fish under it, you know, around it on the flats, you know, over there like you saw in the overlay if you wanted to pause it and kind of see what I'm talking about here. Alright, now our next topic is baits. Now, I said location was one of the most important. This one is probably the most important one, and I have been fishing pressured ponds for like 2-3 years now. I think I'm pretty good at it. I'd say I am. So, let me give you the secret. This is the secret sauce, the Krabby Patty secret formula. This is the 2 baits that I have used, and they have worked. So, number 1 is the wacky rigged Senko. Now, there is a lot of different options. You know, you've got Guggen Baits Lunker Log, Yumdinger, which is the one I use. The Yumdinger is one I use. Just want to clarify that. There is the Ocho stick, the Shimmy stick, the Gary Yamamoto. There is so many. We're coming out with a video soon talking about all the different ones, but there's so many Senkos that you can take into consideration. So many, you know, worms like that. But honestly, this is my rig, is what I just showed you on that B-roll. But let me explain it a little bit more. Alright, so I brought my Ned rig box, which is the second bait. I bought my terminal tackle and my wacky rig box. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So, this right here, this is it. This is a, I don't know what this, oh, I just dropped it. I actually don't know, green pumpkin. So, this is it right here. This is the secret bait that I don't think I've gotten skunked on it before, obviously. Can't have any perfect days, but this is the bait that I throw. I buy them in 30 packs. Like I was saying before my dog started barking, I buy them in 30 packs for $10. Super cheap because they usually rip apart on the first fish you catch. But let me show you how to rig one of these guys. So at Walmart, I buy these bait holder hooks. Look a little bit like this on this B-roll here. And you take one of these worms and you put it just like that. Super simple, works like a charm, and I'll teach you how to do the retrieve later. So that is the first bait that I have used. I think these 2 baits, I would consider them finesse. I don't really know if everyone would. I would though. But a little disclaimer, these and the Ned rig, which is the next bait, are kind of dink magnets if you fish them in like a lake or a pond that's not pressured, but I have caught some pretty girthy and pretty nice fish on a Yumdinger. I actually caught my biggest bass of the year on one. Here's a picture right here. But I mean, they work. What can I say? So let's put these guys away. And let me show you my second favorite bait to fish in a pressured pond. It's a classic. I think you guys have seen me fish this once because I usually only fish them in the spring. It is the Ned rig. If you guys don't know what the Ned rig is, it is made out of a short little worm here. Z-Man sells them. I use Z-Man a lot. But I also have these ones from B&N Customs. Pretty cool. I'll leave a link to their Instagram in the description. I've caught a few bass on them, and these baits are dink magnets. They're usually used for smallmouth, but largemouth like them just as equally, I think. But I don't think I've caught a bass over 1.5 pounds on a a Ned rig. I had a brain fart there for a sec. But there's a lot of different options, colors you can buy. But I like to stick to these 3, maybe 4 if you want to steer away from that. Steer away from the Z-Man. So number 1 is this watermelon Red Flake. Now this is a great color in any pond, any water clarity. This will work really nice. And second is actually my new favorite. I believe this is called California Craw? I don't know. If I figure the real color, I'll put it in text right there. But this is the new color, my new main color that I use. I really like this one, you know. Kind of looks like a craw, not really, but, you know. Z-Man sells like a million different... Sorry, a tree just fell. Z-Man sells like a million different styles and stuff, but I also like these. These are the TRD Hogs, and they're a very weird looking bait. I would tend to steer away from these. The bass are more finicky, but if they're biting a lot, these have some pretty nice action to them. So yeah, those are my two baits, and those are the only things I fish, basically. I mean, I obviously do fish different stuff when I go to lakes and go catfishing and stuff like that, but when it's bass fishing, those are basically the only two baits I fish. Why? Because I know they work, and sometimes if you're throwing a bait that will look so nice and so amazing, and it's just like, you know, it just doesn't catch anything. But those are the two baits that I have found have worked, and I think I've caught probably over 100 fish on Yum Diggers, and I'm not being exaggerating. I'm actually being serious with that. Alright, and also, I kind of have like a bonus bait here. Any finesse bait works pretty well. A shaky head, or I don't really know other finesse baits besides those two, but any finesse baits will work just fine also. And our last thing about the bait category is something you guys should steer away from. Steer away from giant crankbaits, you know, huge glide baits, big swim baits, and what else? Real erratic action baits. So, you know, like the grubs that have like 4 tails on them. Smart baits. I had an advent calendar that had the weirdest looking stuff ever. Steer away from those, really. I mean, bass in pressured ponds really learn the bite. They really learn how to bite something so they don't hook up too much. And fishing these big old S-wavers from river to sea, or these big old $70 glide baits, it's not going to produce much. I mean, yeah, you might get one fish, but it's very rare.